Episode 43, Vinyl Happy Hour. Here we go. Tonight, I'm doing something a little different. We're doing a color vinyl extravaganza. Everything is about limited indie store exclusive color vinyl or different color vinyl. I want to know what color vinyl is your favorite color record in your collection or from your favorite artist in your collection. I know there's a couple records over my lifetime that I've passed out on or missed up on that I should have gotten on color vinyl. I'm happy just to have them on any vinyl, but that's cool. And then I was trying to think of what kind of whiskey can I pair with colored vinyl? I was like, whiskey and bourbon and everything else is mostly like, you know, amber, brown, whatever, just different color. But then I was like, oh yeah, I've been looking for a reason to open up this bottle of Green Spot that we got. This is a triple distilled Irish whiskey. Really interesting story behind it too is this is actually through Mitchell & Son, which is actually the distiller who they buy their distilling product actually from Jameson. But this is not Jameson, this is much different. And the story of it is Mitchell & Son, old whiskey Irish company, would buy the distillation product from Jameson and then barrel it in their own different barrels and sherry barrels. And the father would put like a thumbprint of different paint on the different barrels to signify how old they were or which batch it was. So I was like, hey, Green Spot, we're talking about colored vinyl. Even though I don't think I have any green vinyl to show off, closest color I could come together with it. We actually picked this up at a whiskey tasting here in Rockford through Artali was hosting it. Talked to the guy who was one of the distributors of it and found out more of the story on it. It is a great tasting whiskey too. Like I said, even though it started as the base of what Jameson had, it ends up completely different. 80 proof, smooth, got a great taste. They actually aged them. Part of the whiskey goes into sherry casks and part of it into some different barrels, and then they blend them together to balance out the light and the dark barrels. Each barrel helps add that flavor to it. A great tasting whiskey. So with Vinyl Happy Hour, every Thursday night we're showing off new releases and new things we're adding to the store to keep you kind of up with what's getting released every Friday. And this is just a handful of some of the stuff that is getting released tomorrow. But we want to show off especially this indie store exclusive color vinyl that's been happening with a lot of different artists and bands. For example, my first one up, our friends in Senses Fail have actually gone back and re-recorded their first EP. This was actually something from 2002. It's very rare though, it's before they were even signed to a record label that they had made this album. And they've actually re-recorded From the Depths of Dreams. And this is actually limited, I was looking to see. They only made 300 copies of this. It's on like aqua blue and baby blue color vinyl. And that's really cool. Of course, we're also super happy because our friend Steve Carey from right here in Rockford, Illinois, is their drummer, and they're on tour right now, and we're stoked to go and see them. They're playing Riot Fest in Chicago this weekend, and Friday they're going to play this album in its entirety. They've got a second set on Saturday, and they're playing Let It Enfold You also, their other album. So super stoked. Really cool story, though. The original pressing of this, they only made 300 copies, so originals I've never once ever seen. You know, it's from 17 years ago. They must be really rare. They were a New Jersey band and probably were sold all in that area of the East Coast. I've never seen one sell on the internet anyway for under $100 or $200 even. So they're pretty rare. I've never seen one. Super happy they've gone back, re-recorded, done this limited reissue of it. It even comes with a download card and all that good stuff. So props to them. Really good job. It sounds great. I mean, there's a lot of reasons they've re-recorded it just so they can tour and show off the album. A better sounding recording now. They even changed up some of the lyrics and stuff to make it a little more modern. It's a pristine sounding recording, so kudos to them. They did a great job with it. Can't wait to go see them play some of that live. Next one up, another really great band, big band. You probably all have heard of KORN. New album's dropping this weekend, The Nothing, and they're actually doing a limited indie store exclusive color vinyl of it as well. It's this black and gold splatter color vinyl. Super dope, super heavy album. Great to see these guys still rocking, putting out great albums. I've been a huge fan of KORN over the years. They did a printed inner sleeve as well. But it's like so cool to see. Let me show this off again here. The color vinyl that they did with that. This is also just for independent record stores. So you can't find it online or at any of the big chains or anything like that. So it's cool that a band of the size of Senses Fail and KORN are putting out these indie store exclusives. And that's what we want to be able to feature and show you, and that you can support your independent store wherever you are, or come to Culture Shock here in Rockford and pick up a copy with us. So I got to check that. I've been waiting for a while to hear that one. Next up here is Ghost, Opus Anonymous. And I'm going to call this one kind of an indie store exclusive just because it's through an independent label. This is actually Rise Above Records' 30th anniversary. They're doing a series of some special limited colored vinyl. And this album is on Probably hard to see that there's glitter in this, but it's gold glitter vinyl. So there's glitter inside the vinyl too. You can see it kind of glimmer. Really cool. They've actually done a few different albums. It's not the anniversary or special edition really of Ghost, but of the record label itself. So for their 30th anniversary, they're doing releases from Witchcraft, Uncle Acid and the Deadbeats, another one of my favorite bands. I'm curious to see what else they might put out. But the whole series is on gold glitter vinyl. So I don't know how many they're pressing of that. Probably not a lot. So pick it up while you can. This just reminds me of, we were talking about color vinyl and stuff like that, things you've missed out on. The one color record that really stands out to me that I missed out on, and it's actually the only color it was ever pressed on, was the Cranberries to the Faithful Departed. Anybody who wants to let go of a copy, give me a call. Please do. I'm still looking for that. I can't believe it hasn't been reissued. This one, not an indie store exclusive, but just a limited color vinyl. Music on Vinyl always does a really great job with their releases. They actually just did a reissue of the Wisconsin Death Trip album from Static X on this like somewhat translucent orangish, you know, splatter, or not splatter, but marbled vinyl. This is a good 90s classic. Oh, it's number 2. This is number 1302. I love those little details when they like kind of stamp them or number them. This is a really nice thick gatefold jacket as well. It's nice to remember the date. This is 99. I wanted to say this is like one of my, you know, big time 90s records. And I was like, I think it was in the 90s still, towards the end. So that's a cool release. There's only 1,500 copies of that. And that hasn't even been in print, even on black vinyl for a while. So they did an insert with that too. Even this like little insert is kind of on thicker paper. So a really nice job, and it's like a really glossy, thick gatefold jacket. So I love that. Like I said, let us know, drop a comment. I want to know, what is the color vinyl in your collection that you value the most or you love? This one too, not necessarily an indie exclusive, but very limited. Acacia Strain. Love the artwork on this. This Wormwood album. This is quite a few years old now too, I believe. So at least 10 years old probably. But look at this. They only did 250 copies of this on this cool splatter vinyl. We were lucky to get a few copies. I'm surprised. This is light blue with aqua and red splatter. So it's cool that kind of matches with the album cover too. But what a limited run. A reissue of only 250 copies. So come by, pick up a copy if you need that, because they won't be around long. I also did the printed inner sleeve with that. Let's take a little spot of the green spot here. It was really nice going to this whiskey tasting because I'd never really noticed green spot. It's cool because it comes in one of these little things too. So I'm so worried about my whiskey sitting in the light or in front of the windows. So I like to know that it's safe in there. This reminds me of what Tootsie Rolls used to come in. You know, that like thing. Does anyone remember that? Tootsie Rolls? I remember those tins, playing with those. So color vinyl, you know, a lot of people think of it as a trend or like a recent thing or whatever. But for my final album, I want to go back. Is it my final one? Yeah, my final one. This record that I'm about to show off, we picked. It's sitting down in the jazz section here at the record store at Culture Shock. This is Sonny Stitt's "My Mother's Eyes" Pacific Jazz release. It's in super nice shape. The jacket. This is a 1963 release. Check this out. This is from 1963. Black and red, like somewhat splatter vinyl, whatever you want to call it. That's from 1963. What is that, 56 years ago? So color vinyl is nothing new in the industry for sure. I mean, as you can see here, this is a great, if you don't know Sonny Stitt, by the way, great tenor saxophone player. He played a lot of standards and stuff too, made a lot of albums, was just a little hip, a little far out, a little on the edge of jazz that started to really take a turn away from traditional. He's cool. I mean, if you're into Coltrane and things like that too, I mean, a lot of that's gonna cross paths with him. But he was pretty young when he started playing, and he played for a long time. He'd already been recording for 20 years when this album came out. Anyway, I'm just wondering if back in the day in the 60s, if people were like looking at jazz records, how I kind of look at like hip-hop or metal or death metal vinyl now, like, oh, look at this, like, this is not true, you know, it's not your standard at the time, probably more easy listening folk music or a big band. Something like this would probably be pretty heavy in those days, and I wonder, this was also available on black vinyl, but how many people were like, hey, what color is yours? Because some of these, I've seen Pacific records before, are just plain red. Even on the internet, I've seen most of the pictures I've seen of this that have been up for sale or have people just showing pictures on Discogs are just solid red. But it's so cool that this has this like kind of unique to this record pattern on it. So yeah, it's a great sounding record. It still plays perfect. So if someone had taken care of it, it's just so cool to see a record, something 50 something years old, is still, the jacket, everything's in like really nice shape. The record plays great, still sounds really crisp. So yeah, just to show, I wanted to highlight that color vinyl is nothing new in the industry. It's been being done for decades and decades. But how cool is it that now there's a lot of artists and record labels putting out indie store exclusives or limited runs that are numbered. I don't know the numbers on this, so I'm not sure how many were pressed. But so yeah, definitely, like I said, check us out. We got a little change coming for next week. We're actually going to do a special live vinyl happy hour from the store on Friday night. So if you want more details on that, be sure to check us out or DM us if you want to be there for part of it, all right? So just shoot us a message and we'll make sure you get the info on that.
The link in our bio on Instagram is our newsletter.
Oh, yeah. So the link in our bio on our Instagram, so just go to our link in the bio on Instagram. That is how you want to get on our newsletter. So if you want to find out about VIP events, special events, live music, and other things, please shoot your email over through that, and we'll be sure to include you on what we've got going on. So we'll remind you that next Friday is actually going to be a special vinyl happy hour instead of Thursday night. Until then, cheers. Thanks so much.